Hola amigos, we are here again. In the last lesson, we learned about how to tell time in Spanish. Now you can tell me the time in Spanish. ¿Qué hora es? Son las. Muy bien. So in today's lesson, we are going to learn to talk about our daily routine, which is called la rutina diaria in Spanish. By knowing about the daily routine, we get to know about somebody's habit and their culture. No? What does we do normally from the time we get up to the time we sleep? There are several activities that we do from getting up to going to bed. These activities include very mundane things like brushing, taking bath, getting dressed, etc. Let us take an example. I take bath at 8 a.m. every day. Now in Spanish, we will say me baño a las 8 todos los días. Me baño a las 8 todos los días. Do you remember the AR ending verb? Just revise it. In Spanish, for taking a bath, we use the verb bañarse. It is made up of the verb bañar, which is an AR ending regular verb, and it has a suffix se. Let us first practice the AR ending verb form of Spanish verb bañar. You know the endings of the first group of verb, those are o, yo, o, tú, has, él, ella, usted, ha, nosotros, nosotras, hamos, vosotros, vosotras, háis, y ellos, ellas, ustedes, han. Muy bien. So, bañar would be conjugated as baño, bañas, baña, bañamos, bañáis, bañan. So, we have Spanish verb with the suffix se or se, as in the verb bañarse. It is known as reflexive verb. It may be an AR, ER or IR ending verb. It may also be regular or an irregular verb. Let us see how the new reflexive verb will be conjugated. So, we will conjugate bañarse, and bañarse is a regular AR ending reflexive verb. Me baño, te bañas, se baña, nos bañamos, os bañáis, se bañan. Now, let us understand why we need a different form of verb for talking about oneself, and why do we need a reflexive verb. So, what is a reflexive form of a verb? It is if the subject in a sentence performs an action on itself, then the verb is considered to be reflexive. Mean to say that when any action done by the doer is reflecting on the doer itself, and the pronoun me, which is used here to receive the action, that is bañar, is reflexive, that is me baño. The reflexive pronouns are me, myself, te, yourself, and se, yourself, formal, himself and herself. Nos is for ourselves, os is for yourselves, informal, and se is for yourselves, formal, and themselves. Did you notice this in the verb given above, me baño? It has the same person pronoun me and the same person in the doer of the action, that is yo baño, baño. Effectively, it says I take a bath, or I give myself a bath, or I bath myself. How to say I take a bath around 8 every day? Me baño alrededor de las 8 cada día. Me baño alrededor de las 8 cada día. When you use the reflexive verb without pronouns, they become regular verbs. But remember one thing, that you cannot add reflexive pronoun to any verb and make it a reflexive verb. Yo baño al niño, it means I give bath to the child. So, I take bath, me baño is reflexive. The person who does the action is also receiver of the action. I give bath, baño al niño, is a normal non-reflexive form. The receiver of the action is niño, is a different from the doer yo. In English, you have the difference to take bath and give bath. In Spanish, the difference is made by using the reflexive pronouns. At this juncture, I shall tell you a very interesting thing. To introduce oneself, you have to learn, or you have learned to say me llamo, o como te llamas, o se llama Juan. We just told you to learn the expressions. It is the verb llamarse. Yes, it is also a reflexive verb. Let us take another verb, or for practice, an irregular verb this time, despertarse, which means to wake up. The vowel e changes to the diphthong e, or the vowel e, el vocal e en español, changes to the diphthong e, a. So, let us conjugate it. You can try it yourself. Try it and then continue to check with me for the conjugation that we are going to do now. Shall we start checking? Me despierto, I wake up. Te despiertas, you wake up, informal. Se despierta, he or she wakes up, or you wake up, formal, usted. As we know that the first and second person plural do not change, nos despertamos, we wake up. Os despertáis, you all wake up, informal. Se despiertan, they all wake up, or you all wake up, the formal, ustedes van. Here are some micro conversations between Juan and Anand. Hola Anand, ¿no te afeitas hoy en día? Hola Anand, ¿no te afeitas hoy en día? By looking at the beard of Anand, hola Juan, es que me gusta tener la barba. I like to have the beard. Have you noticed the expression me gusta, I like? Very soon we shall learn the verb gustar. Let us look at this conversation between Maria and Sue. ¿Qué pasa, María? Nada, Sue, no puedo ducharme. una cola larga en la residencia. Así, qué lástima. How sad. Another conversation, Juan and Anand. ¿Cuándo estudias tú normalmente, Juan? Por la noche, Anand. Me acuesto muy tarde. Pero yo me acuesto bastante temprano, Juan, porque me levanto temprano. Así, yo no puedo levantarme temprano. Here are some sentences that we use to express our daily activities. I'm sure now you can say, I wake up at 5 every day. Yes, me despierto a las 5 todos los días. Sí, muy bien. We are now equipped to talk about our daily routine as we know how to tell time in Spanish, and today we learned the uses of reflexive verbs. I'll tell you about my daily routine. You listen carefully and repeat after me. Por la mañana me despierto normalmente a las 5. Luego me lavo los dientes. If it is male person, he may say, me afeito alrededor de las 6. Yo preparo el desayuno. Entonces, a eso de las 7 me ducho. Después de ducharme, me visto para ir a trabajar. Can you tell me the verbs that we were using of the reflexive in my daily routine? Despertarse, lavarse, afeitarse, ducharse, vestirse. Muy bien. When we talk of daily routine, we use temporal expressions like normalmente, normally, todos los días is every day, cada día is each day, los fines de semana, the weekends, los lunes, on Mondays, or los martes is on Tuesdays, and that can be any particular day of the week, siempre, always, o casi siempre, almost always, nunca, never, casi nunca, almost never, a veces, sometimes, temprano is early, o muy temprano, very early, o bastante temprano, quite early, tarde is late, o muy tarde, very late, o bastante tarde, quite late, después de, and nombre, o infinitivo, like after, antes de, más nombre, o infinitivo, before, like después de, infinitivo, it's like después de comer, after eating, o antes de escribir, it's like before writing, o antes de hablar, like before speaking. Okay? You could use the following structure to ask information about other person's routine, like a qué hora más the reflexive verb más the temporal expression. So, a qué hora, the reflexive verb, and then the temporal expression. Now, for practicing the reflexive verbs, Mary and Kwan are again here to help us. they have started working together in a company. They meet in the supermarket, and let us see how they are talking about their daily life or their daily routine. Juan: hola Marie. Marie: hola Juan, ¿tú por aquí? ¡Qué sorpresa! Marie is expressing surprise to see Juan, her new colleague in the supermarket. Juan: sí Marie, es que normalmente me levanto a las 5 y me preparo la comida, pero hoy un poco temprano a las 6:30 y no hay tiempo para cocinar. Así que me voy a comprar algo de aquí. Bueno, ¿tú qué haces por aquí? Marie: es que yo me acuesto muy tarde por la noche, a eso de las 2 de la madrugada, y por eso normalmente duermo hasta muy tarde. Pero hoy voy a tener invitados para el almuerzo y que estoy aquí para hacer la compra. Juan: que tengas un buen fin de semana. Marie: igualmente, hasta el lunes. Juan: hasta el lunes. Did you notice that not all the verbs are used in reflexive forms? Which verbs are generally used in reflexive? This you will understand and learn with the practice. Some of the verbs that are used in the reflexive form in a normal conversation are given below. Repeat as I say them. Like levantarse, to get up, or if you want to have a literal translation, it's like to get up from a place. Afeitarse, to shave or to shave oneself. Sentarse is to sit down or to seat oneself. Secarse is to dry or to dry oneself. Reírse is to laugh or to have a laugh. Vestirse, to get dressed or to dress oneself. Peinarse, to comb or to comb one's own hair. Lavarse is to wash or to wash oneself. Despertarse is to wake up or to wake oneself. Ducharse is to take a shower or to shower oneself. I think now we understand that reflexive verbs are very logical in their concept, because in place of saying I wash hands does not make it clear wash whose hands. For washing your own hands, you have to use the reflexive pronoun and do not use the possessive pronoun. I wash my hands, in Spanish we do not need to use the adjective which is possessive or possessive adjective. We use reflexive with the verb to say action is for oneself. Hence, me lavo las manos. No need of saying mis manos. Let us take a situation for practicing one's daily routine in Spanish. Talking about routine is where we make maximum use of reflexive verbs. Situation: there is a class with a teacher and students. Hay una clase con profesora y alumnos. The few of the students come to the class late every day, and teacher is asking them about their daily routine to find why they are reaching late every day. Alumnos are Juan, Jorge, Sue, Anand y profesora. Alumnos, Juan y Anan, buenos días, profe. Profesora, muy buenas, pero ¿dónde están Jorge y Cecilia? Nunca llegan a tiempo. Entran Juan y Cecilia. ¿Podemos pasar? ¿May we come in? Profesora, pasa, pasa. ¿Por qué llegáis tan tarde siempre? Jorge, profe, es que me acuesto muy tarde y por eso me levanto tarde también. Profesora, ¿puedes decirme tu rutina diaria para saber por qué vienes tarde a la clase? Su dice, yo normalmente me acuesto a las 9 y me despierto temprano también, a eso de las 6, pero hoy en día tardo mucho en lavarme los dientes, bañarme, vestirme y cepillarme porque hay invitados en casa. Profesora, vale, entonces es cosa de pocos días, pero intenta llegar a tiempo. Soy Jorge. Por supuesto, profe. When we talk of daily routine, we also talk of habits. Let me introduce a new verb here for talking about habits, that is soler. Soler is an irregular verb with O changing to UE and is conjugated like yo suelo, tú sueles, él, ella, usted suele, nosotros, nosotras solemos. Very right. So the irregular O to UE will not be applicable to nosotros and vosotros forms. So, vosotros, vosotras soléis and ellos, ellas, ustedes suelen. To say I usually get up at 5, we will say suelo levantarme a las 5. Suelo levantarme a las 5. So the verb soler is conjugated for the person whose habits are we talking about. So if we want to say you usually get up at 6, how will you say that in Spanish? Tú sueles levantarte a las 6. Tú sueles levantarte a las 6. Now you can tell me how to say he usually goes to bed very late. Yes, él suele acostarse muy tarde. Él suele acostarse muy tarde. But you must have also observed that a reflexive verb is used in a different way. You are right. With soler, we use the infinitive form of the verb. Let us now practice for a clear understanding. You know what to do. Yo suelo levantarme temprano. Yo suelo levantarme temprano. Tú sueles acostarte tarde. Él, ella, usted suele despertarse temprano. Nosotros solemos ir a la casa de abuelos en los veranos. Vosotros soléis estudiar por la noche. Ellos, ellas, ustedes suelen tomar café por las tardes. From the examples with the verb soler, you must have observed that soler takes an infinitive, that is soler más infinitivo, suelo levantarme temprano. There is another interesting thing to note. When two verbs come together, as in suelo levantarme, the attached of the verb infinitive, it always comes after the verb. You can also use the temporal expression to talk about the habitual accents, as we have seen before in this lesson. Another very important verb which becomes in reflexive and non-reflexive form is the verb ir, which is to go, or irse, to go off or leave. Ya está, me voy. Adiós, hasta luego. You have learned how ir is conjugated before, right? Yo voy, tú vas, él, ella, usted va, nosotros vamos, vosotros vais, ellos, ellas, ustedes van. And by now, you must conjugate the reflexive verbs with the pronouns. Yes. Yo me voy, tú te vas, él, ella, usted se va, nosotros nos vamos, vosotros os vais, ellos, ellas, ustedes se van. You are leaving the office for the day and you see your friend still working. You ask, Anand, ¿qué pasa? ¿No te vas? Sí, sí, ya me voy, ya está, nos vamos. Yes. So, you say, Anand, ¿qué pasa? What happened? ¿No te vas? Are you not going? Anand says, sí, sí, ya me voy. Yes, yes, I am leaving. Ya está, it's done, nos vamos, we'll go. Another important reflexive verb is sentarse, to sit down. The expression you use is, ¿por qué no se sienta usted? Why don't you sit down? Or, ¿por qué no te sientas tú? It's an irregular verb. The conjugation is given with the lesson. Please practice and learn. So, in this lesson, we learn to talk about our Rutina diaria, daily routine, and the reflexive verbs and their conjugation. More in the next class. Until then, chao y hasta la próxima.